Alex Spiro, in a statement, writes, quote, "The false case against Jay-Z that never should have been brought has been dismissed with prejudice. By standing up in the face of heinous and false allegations, Jay has done what few can. He pushed back. He never settled. He never paid one red penny. He triumphed and cleared his name."
The woman, whose identity remains secret, dropped her lawsuit after Jay-Z's attorney said there were glaring inconsistencies in her account. At first, the woman's attorney stood by her allegation that was said to have occurred after the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. But on Friday, without giving a reason, they dropped the case, and they did so in such a way that it cannot be filed again. There was no further comment from the woman's attorney.
I felt that Mr. Busby was placing a gun to my head, that I either bow to his demands or endure personal and financial ruin. It says Mr. Busby purposely filed this on the eve of my daughter's premiere to put me in the position of having to choose between supporting my daughter or hiding to avoid the negative press.
Back at it like a crack at it, automatic like a foamatic, built from tragedy, made for static. It's your boy, Perfect Timing Podcast with the blast, in and out, in a dash. 2025 won't last, so we're going to get this done real fast. Today, we got another story in the long line of a playlist. I'm going to ask you guys politely, click on the playlist and leave a comment at the end of this video. We have a major update today. As you see in the ticker and the banner, the Jay-Z case has been dismissed. I'm going to say it again. The Jay-Z case has been dismissed. You saw a little bit in the intro. We're going to go into it. I have the actual dismissal. We're going to read that. Let's go to Twitter right now. I'm not even going to hold you up. We're going to get right into the content because I know everybody content. So what you have on your screen is the actual court filing of the dismissal. So we're going to go. I'll show some videos later. But basically what happened, this happened on February 14th, 2025. Yes, Valentine's Day. We got this information after 5 o'clock. A lot of us YouTubers and content creators had already shut down for the holiday weekend. It was not only February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to my beautiful wife. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Valentine's Day. It was also a holiday weekend. So a lot of people like myself took an opportunity to spend a lot of time and do a getaway with your significant other, man. Everybody who got an opportunity to do that, man, salute to you. So now today is, Watch It Taco Tuesday, and we're reacting to the content. And as I did my research, I was very happy to find, because I know how on YouTube we need to have the receipts, man. It's important for everybody to have the receipts. So I wanted to bring this up for you guys, man. So you see, I got my spectacles on because my vision is impaired. So this right here is United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Jane Doe. Now, as we all know, from the beginning of this case, they went by Jane Doe. There was a lot of things in this case that people may have forgotten. Now, when Tony Busby first got called out on Jane Doe, if you recall, after the ABC video that took place in December, we covered that ABC video where the inconsistencies that led to this dismissal actually came out. Busby said that he got referred this case. If you guys recall, because what came out is that the Jane Doe had never gone through a lie detector test. And a lot of us were surprised to find out that Jane Doe had never gone through any type of vetting process, or one we felt was at the level of a billionaire Jay-Z, right? For this type of claim, like Jay-Z has teenage children, we'll go into more how detrimental this claim turned out to be for Jay-Z and the Jay-Z family. But we come to find out in the December ABC interview that she hadn't even been vetted properly, right? And the excuse that Busby gave is that, well, he got this case from someone else. So now we have the court filing from New York, and it's starting out. I just wanted to take a little sidebar there to remind you guys when it states Jane Doe, how it is. Remember, if you remember, one of the first things we heard about this case is Jay-Z's lawyers filing a petition to get the Jane Doe to relinquish her name, because in America you have a right to face your accuser. And remember, we heard all the hoopla that the narrative came across that the judge was upset with Jay-Z for asserting his rights. Obviously, that wasn't true. Obviously, the judge was never upset with Jay-Z and his lawyers for being a proper advocate for it. So when everybody said Jay-Z should just go through you are absolutely wrong. If you are innocent, until proven guilty. Jay-Z got out in front of this and made sure the judge and the public knew this was not a possibility, and now the case is dismissed. Shout out to Jay-Z. But I had to stop right at the beginning before we even get started, because at the Jane Doe, for those of you who may not know about this case, where we first came into association with this is Jay-Z telling us about the case. And what Jay-Z's lawyers were saying is Jay-Z believes that this is frivolous and that this is fictitious and that we want to force the accuser to reveal herself by his constitutional right. These were the plaintiffs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have Jane Doe, and this is a civil lawsuit, and Jane Doe is suing, I count over 7 entities here, and that was before Sean Jay-Z Carter was added to the lawsuit. So we got 7 entities. The Jane Doe is suing. This is remember, you guys, this hasn't reached the level and never reached the level of criminality for Jay-Z. So what you have here in this document is the actual civil case, the civil lawsuit, and who Jane Doe was suing. Anybody that doesn't understand what the purpose of this case was, this was a lawsuit for monetary reasons. It may have turned into something else if the people were found guilty of accusations, but as it standed, this was a civil lawsuit for money. And I count over 7 entities that were being sued. Now, going forward, this is called a notice of voluntary dismissal pursuant to the Rule 41A of the Federal Rule of Civil Procedure. And it reads as such. Pursuant to Rule 41A of the Federal Civil Procedure, Plaintiff Jane Doe, by and through her undersigned counsel, hereby gives notice that the above captioned action is voluntarily dismissed with prejudice. Now, this is important for us to pause right here. So let's understand what it means by with prejudice. So, couple things so far. We've established that this is a civil lawsuit that Jane Doe was suing 7 entities before Sean Jay-Z Carter was added. If you include Sean Jay-Z Carter, over 8 entities were being sued for money based on her claims. Now, it says here in this dismissal that by her own volition, Jane Doe gives up her right to lawsuit and does it with prejudice, i.e., she is never allowed to bring such a claim against these 2 gentlemen again, ever. That's what with prejudice means. And what's important also to note here, that this filing has nothing to do with Jay-Z and Jay-Z's attorneys. This is being done by Jane Doe with counsel. Jane Doe is doing this with counsel. Let's read this again. Hereby gives that the above captioned action is voluntary dismissed with prejudice. Counsel for plaintiff have discussed this matter with counsel for each defendant who acknowledge and consent to this submission, right? So she spoke with her counsel. After speaking with her counsel and after speaking for the counsel of the individuals who she accused, she has decided upon her own volition to dismiss the case without prejudice, meaning that she can never sue these individuals for this particular instance. I don't know if that means that they won't try to get the story straight and come back with the subsequent lawsuit and then refile the lawsuit with the proper foundation. Because what happened here in the ABC interview is that things came out in the ABC interview that contradicted her initial statement. Just briefly, so we can get some of the details of what led to this dismissal. So a lot of people are asking themselves today how I saw people saying Jay-Z bought the dismissal. So a lot of people don't understand how and why the case was dismissed. I'm saying that there was an ABC interview in which the Jane Doe presented some inconsistencies that led to the dismissal. Let's go and let's see what those inconsistencies were. And I need you to let me know in the comments what you think. Was this enough to get the case dismissed, or should it have gone to trial? Let's take a listen to what actually led to the dismissal.
On Friday, the case was dismissed by Jane Doe. She said that she was dismissing it with prejudice, which means they can never bring the charge again. There were a number of inconsistencies that came out after the case was filed. It was pointed out that she said that her father picked her up after the alleged rape at this after party and took her home. Her father doesn't remember that. There was also an inconsistency in the way she described the building where the after party took place. And she also said that she had a conversation with Benji Madden there at the after party. Well, Benji Madden was on tour and didn't attend the 2000 VMAs. Sean Carter has said that he is innocent of these charges, and now he's saying he's been vindicated by this dismissal.
Inconsistencies is what led to the dismissal. In my opinion, you let me know in the comments what you think. Let's get some more back. Let's get some more information. Because now that the case has been dismissed, you might ask yourself, how does Jay-Z move forward? And now Jay-Z is telling, not only did they dismiss the case on February 4th, he's a married man with children. I don't think that's by accident. They could have did it any day. So they dismissed the case on February 14th, Valentine's Day, President's Day weekend. But something we didn't know is that Busby filed the case on premiere weekend where Blue Ivy was a star in her new movie, and it would force Jay-Z to go to the movie premiere and get accosted by the paparazzi concerning these new claims because they're very serious and should be taken serious. Let's see what it says. Social media comments online responding to Mr. Busby's public statement about me and accusations against me have caused me harm. For example, people have said, I can't wait until you join Combs in prison. Later in hell, he needs to be in jail. Jay-Z needs to be locked up. Now, these are comments that Jay-Z and his family had read. And imagine having your teenage child read some of these things. All of you at Rock Nation, Jay-Z, all of you are going down. Just wait and see. Lock Jay-Z up. Wouldn't that scare your teenage child? Knowing that someone that he associates with is already incarcerated for similar accusations? How would you feel? So I think Jay-Z is warranted in his lawsuit here, and I believe he's definitely shown damages. This is the first page of the declaration. We're not going to read the whole thing, but I'll post the link. And shout out to the content creator. Let's give a shout out to the content. This is from Megan. There it is. Megan Cuniff on Carter. Number 1, Sean Carter declares as follows: I am a plaintiff in this action, meaning I am the one who is alleging harm. I make this declaration in opposition to defendants' special motion to strike unless otherwise noted. It says here, November 2024, I received demand letters from Mr. Busby falsely accusing me of vile conduct. Number 3, Mr. Busby wrote in the second letter on behalf of someone he referred to as only Jane Doe. In that letter, Mr. Busby stated in 2015, a party in Beverly Hills, ISA Jane Doe. So just think about this. We didn't hear about this, but Tony Busby sent 2 letters to Jay-Z. He sent 2 letters to Jay-Z. The letter that ended up in the lawsuit that just got dismissed, but there was a second letter about a male plaintiff that Tony Busby threatened Jay-Z that if you did not pay me, I will go public that you SA'd this man. And he is willing to come forth and testify and sue you. So I have a woman who is 30 years old who claims this happened when she was a child. And I have a man who was 30 years old who claims this happened when he was 15 years old. Jay-Z received 2 letters from Busby, one about a 13-year-old and one about a 13-year-old young lady and a 15-year-old young man. We never heard about the accusations about the 15-year-old young man. And this was saying to Jay-Z, if you do not pay me a lump sum of money, I will release what I have on you in this 15-year-old young man. I don't know if we've heard the last of that because there was no dismissal. I don't know where that case is. 4, the allegations which I learned for the first time through these demand letters were shocking to me and have absolutely no basis in fact. 5, in both of these demand letters, Mr. Busby gave me a choice. Either I could attend a mediation at which he demanded that I be prepared to give each of his clients something of substance to address their situation, or if I did not agree by this November 19th date, he would take a different course in the form of causing a public spectacle. Come on, y'all. Tony Busby threatened Jay-Z, not with going to prison, not with guilt, not with shame, with someone who would commit crimes like this should be under a jail. Do you not agree? Anyone who would do this should be under a jail. But Tony Busby said, if you don't give me money, I'm going to cause a public spectacle. I put the link. Shout out to the content creator, because I know a lot of y'all might want to read this in its entirety. Number 6, in the weeks leading up to Busby sending those 2 demand letters, he has been engaged in nonstop nationwide media blitz concerning the case. So it's an attack, and he should be sued. I think he should. Well, you put in the comments what you think should happen to Tony Busby. But not only does he send out these letters, it was a mafia tactic almost. You know, it's almost like, you know, leaning on him like a mafioso style tactic that you're gonna have to pay me for protection. And then he goes on a media campaign. Jay-Z's a billionaire. He's an influencer, a celebrity. This can affect his future earnings. That should have been taken into consideration for anything like this for Tony Busby to move forward. Oh, Jay-Z responded with a comment. Jay-Z responded and he left a post. And it's saying, you have a lot of people on here. It's a lot of stuff going on in that relationship sector. And the relationship sector is blowing up right now because, and I agree with this gentleman's assessment, that you have too many people giving advice on relationships who's never been in a successful relationship. Jay-Z deserves credit for being in a successful marriage, a successful father, a successful husband, a successful businessman. And those are the examples, not the rapper, not the celebrity, but if anything you want to emulate about individuals is the fact that he had turmoil in his marriage. He was able to save his marriage, reconcile his marriage, and make it even better. Those are the things I admire about Jay-Z and I think are worthy of admiration. So let's see what Jay-Z wrote after these attacks, after surviving these attacks by Tony Busby. Let Jay-Z us. Today is a victory. The frivolous, fictitious, and appalling accusations have been dismissed. The fictional tale they created was laughable. If not for the seriousness of the claims, I would not wish this experience on anyone. The trauma that my wife, my children, and loved ones and I have endured can never be dismissed. This 1-800 lawyer gets to file a suit hiding behind Jane Doe, and when they quickly realize that the money grab is going to fail, they get to walk away with no repercussions. The system has failed. The court must protect victims, of course, while with some ethical responsibility, the courts must protect the innocent from being accused without a shred of evidence. May the truth prevail for all victims. So that was the Jay-Z response and statement to the dismissal. And I think that's a very powerful, powerful statement. Jay-Z said the claims that they made were laughable if it were not for how serious they were. And what me and my wife and my family went through and endured can never be erased. Y'all let me know in the comments how you feel about this. The initial lawsuit, Tony Busby. You know, Tony Busby, I want you guys to go look at my playlist, because what you'll find is that this is not the first time that we've dealt with this with Tony Busby. In my previous videos, I brought up the fact that Tony Busby did the same thing and lost when trying to do the same tactics against Deshaun Watson, a former Texas NFL player who received a $275 million NFL contract to leave Texas. And when he went to leave Texas and go to the Cleveland Browns, he was hit with over 80 claims of SA and 60 lawsuits by this Mr. Tony Busby. Deshaun Watson had to go to multiple grand juries. And just like Jay-Z and Jane Doe, Deshaun Watson was fully acquitted of all accusations and charges. No one of the 60 accusers has ever come, represented by Tony Buzbee, has ever come forward. When Jay-Z says there needs to be consequences, everyone needs to understand who Tony Buzbee is. He's not speaking out of turn when he calls him a 1-800 lawyer. He put up a 1-800 hotline to go after Sean Combs. He produced over 100 lawsuits from that 1-800 law hotline. But what I would like to focus people on is how Tony Buzbee did the same tactics and lost, i.e. did not vet and was ambulance chasing and was using mafioso tactics without proof to siphon money from black celebrity. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for my following videos. My name is Perfect on the Perfect Timing Podcast. Click on the playlist. Watch more about Deshaun Watson, Tony Buzbee, Jay-Z, the origins of this case, the origins of Tony, and the origins of Perfect. I'm